Fenton is one of those St. Louis suburbs people end up choosing, even if it was not on their list at the beginning. And once you see it from the air, that starts to make a lot of sense. Because Fenton gives families something a lot of suburbs do not. Big convenience, solid neighborhoods, and good schools nearby. And a price point that still feels more realistic than some of the pricier suburbs people compare it to. But it is not perfect. And if you move here for the wrong reasons, you are gonna feel that pretty quickly. Hey, I'm Jonathan, your local St. Louis real estate agent. I make videos just like this to show people what it's actually like to live in and around the St. Louis area before they move here. And Fenton is a really good one to talk about. It's not one of the flashiest suburbs, but for a lot of families, it ends up being one of the smartest. So let's get into it. In this video, I'm going to show you what daily life in Fenton actually feels like, what the neighborhoods look like, how schools and parks fit into the picture, what homes cost, and who Fenton is really for. And stick around to the end because I'll also tell you who this area may not be for, and tease the full driving community tour where we go through the most sought after neighborhoods street by street. The best way I can describe Fenton is this. It works really well for normal life. That may not sound exciting at first, but when people relocate, that is usually what they're actually looking for. Right here, you are looking at Gravois Bluffs. And this is one of the biggest reasons Fenton stays so attractive. You have shopping, groceries, restaurants, coffee, gyms, and everyday errands all packed up into one major hub. And that matters more than people think. Because when families move, they're not just asking, do we like the house? They're asking, where do we get groceries? Where do we run errands on a Tuesday? Where do we go on a random Saturday with the kids? And how annoying is everyday life actually going to be? Fenton answers a lot of those questions really well, and that is a huge reason people keep coming back to it. Now, let's talk about what it actually feels like where people live. This neighborhood you are seeing here is San Simeon. It feels established, tree-lined, and a little more tucked in. It has that classic suburban feel that a lot of move-up buyers really like. Then you have Winter Lakes Estates. This one feels a little newer, a little more open, and a little more polished. You have wider streets, newer style homes, and that neighborhood look a lot of relocating families are hoping to find. Then there is our new construction communities like Winding Meadows and Winding Bluffs. These areas help tell the value story really well. You get that newer construction feel and modern layout style, but without automatically jumping into a much higher end suburb. And from the air, that is really the theme of Fenton. It feels like a real life suburb. Not too fancy, not too rough, just very livable. Now, this is where Fenton starts to get sticky for families. This is Bent Tree Trails. And it is one of those neighborhoods that gets attention for a reason. You have that cul-de-sac, sidewalk, family neighborhood feel. And one of the biggest draws here is how close you are to Utah Valley Elementary. For relocators, that matters. Because once buyers can picture that school nearby, the streets, the layout, and the day-to-day routine, the area starts to feel real. This is the kind of neighborhood where families drive through and say, okay, I can actually picture us living here. Fenton is known for its parks and outdoor space, but it also has family spots people actually use, like Swing Around Fun Town, the YMCA, and now newer places like Wow Entertainment that gives families more to do without leaving the area. And that is important because a suburb is not just about the house. It is about what your week feels like once you get here. That is one of Fenton's strengths. It quietly gives families a lot of practical options without making life feel spread out or overly complicated. And before we get into schools and prices, this is probably the right time to say this. If you're thinking about moving to the St. Louis area and trying to figure out whether Fenton fits your lifestyle, commute, and budget, whether that's in 9 days or 9 months, feel free to give me a call, shoot me a text. All my information is in the link below, and I would love to make your next transition to the St. Louis area as smooth as possible. Now let's get into the rest. One of the biggest reasons families keep Fenton on their short list is school access. A lot of this area feeds into Rockwood, and Rockwood is one of the better known districts in the St. Louis area. That matters for obvious reasons, like where your kids go to school. But it also matters because school reputation tends to affect demand, competition, and how buyers feel about long-term resale. So when people are looking for that mix of good schools, useful location, and a home that still feels attainable, Fenton starts to make a lot of sense. Now let's talk price for a second. Recent data puts Fenton median home sale price at about $355,000, and that is a big reason this area stays attractive. Because for a lot of buyers, Fenton gives them a chance to get into solid neighborhoods, daily convenience, and access to strong schools nearby, without jumping all the way into some of the pricier suburban options people also look at. So if you are value conscious, but you still want that suburban family feel, Fenton often ends up being one of the more balanced choices. Now, here's the part people need to hear. Fenton is not for everyone. If you want a super charming downtown, highly walkable streets, boutique shopping, and a lot of nightlife, this is probably not your place. A lot of Fenton's energy is built around convenience, retail, and access, not charm and prestige. And yes, around Gravois Bluffs in the main shopping corridors, traffic can absolutely get annoying. So the downside is really this. Fenton is more practical than romantic. But for a lot of families, that is actually the win. So who is Fenton actually for? It is a great fit for people who want strong day-to-day convenience, family-friendly neighborhoods, parks and activities, access to good schools nearby, and a price point that still feels more realistic than some of the other suburbs that they may be considering. It is especially strong for young families, practical relocators, and buyers who care more about how life works every week than about having the trendiest zip code. If that sounds like what you're looking for, make sure you are subscribed, because in the next video, we're going to be doing a full driving community tour of Fenton, Missouri. We're going to go street by street in neighborhoods and the prices of those neighborhoods and a few other sought after pockets so you can really see how everything connects. So have you decided if Fenton, Missouri is the perfect fit for your family based on, location, commute, or lifestyle? If not, I have another video coming out very soon, so make sure you're subscribed. It's going to be where I'm doing a full community tour, going neighborhood by neighborhood, street by street, showing you more in depth on the prices and what lifestyle is actually like. So whether you're wanting to learn more or make that move, whether it's in 9 days or 9 months, please don't hesitate to reach out, give me a call, shoot me a text. All my information is in the description below, and I would love to make your next move as smooth as possible. With all that being said, I hope to see you around town.